Hi, my loves. How are we doing? All right. The title of this reading is really going to be, why are you still holding on to that person? Okay. So, yes, this is kind of going to be a love reading, but it's more going to be, I guess, a shadow aspect of the situation. Okay. Now, let me make it so clear. Okay. Healing is linear. Not I, no God, no universe, no nothing should tell you when you should get over somebody or how long it should take you to heal. Healing is linear. It could take you another 10 more years. That's between only you can only decide that, okay? But I feel like at the same time, as far as it's one thing to heal from somebody versus you just not letting them go. I feel like I'm talking to a collective. You're not all the way detached from the situation at all. I think there is a lot of things that are triggering you, that are bothering you, and that is completely okay. And that's why I'm here. We're going to work through this together, okay? But I really want to see, what is it about this person you just can't let go of? And I feel like, too, you're kind of asking yourself that, too. It's like, why can I not let this person go? What is going on? Okay. So I will say this reading may come off very unpleasant. Maybe there are some things you just don't want to hear, and that is completely okay. By the way, I go long in detail for a reason. So if you don't want to hear what I have to say, if this doesn't apply to you, sit right with you. That is completely okay. I will return some other time. Okay. So I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to really let my guides lead the way on this one, okay? So, to start off with this reading, one second. Actually, just kidding. To confirm if this is really your reading, I want to see how are you feeling about this person right now, okay? And I always tell everybody, especially with my collective readings, I'm here to confirm how you're feeling, not tell you how to feel, okay? So let me just kind of see. That was an awkward shuffle. I can't actually shuffle because I sliced my finger the other day, and it's right on the area where I hold my cards. It's been a time, okay? The way I shuffle cards has kind of been awkward this last few days, but let me see as far as how are you feeling about this person right now. Well, I got lone wolf as the first one, so clearly you are very single. You do feel like you are a lone wolf, but I feel like you're choosing to stay single. And again, it's kind of leading back to that headspace of like, why can I not get over this person? I feel like logically you kind of know, well, if I'm not over somebody, I'm not exactly just going to jump ship and move on that quickly, okay? Maybe you are a very emotional person, not a bad thing at all, but for you it doesn't. Maybe you are one of those people that it doesn't make sense to like jump from one person to another. You'd rather be alone and figure things out before you jump ship towards another person, okay? I feel like this person has put you on a healing journey for sure. So I got wasting time and then drinking to forget. Well, no wonder you're questioning yourself. You're numbing yourself out a little bit. For some of you, you could be drinking right now. For some of you, it could be drugs. Not here to judge, okay? There is clearly some form of coping mechanism that you are doing right now to not think of this person. I don't think it's in a healthy way, okay? Literally with that drinking to forget, I think you are trying to move on from this person, okay? Don't make it fit. I think you are, again, very logical, and I think you're trying to shut your emotions down. I really do think this person has broke you way more than you are kind of leading on. I think you're doing I would get, and if this was literally anybody else, I would just walk away and get over them. I can't get over this person. What is wrong with me? So I'm just going to drink this out. I'm going to numb this out. You are suppressing your emotions. You are masking your emotions off just as much as what your person has done with you, if that's what is really came down to, okay? I think you're questioning again with that wasting time of like, why do I want this person back? Why can I not get over them? You're numbing yourself out. I'm not going to sit here and say don't ever drink or don't ever get into whatever you're doing behind closed doors. But if you're using that stuff, because I always say when it comes to shadow work, personal opinion, you need to be sober. You really need to sit with it and you need to feel with everything, okay? But I think, especially if you're being involved with drinking, you're doing it so much, it's like you're doing it in a way to completely forget this person, okay? I'm hearing you could be doing it at night. You could have really bad anxiety. And I got twin flame right here. Well, no wonder you can't forget them. You could be questioning, right? I feel like you don't have a definite answer with anything right now. You're kind of like, well, maybe this is my twin flame. I don't know why I can't get over them. Maybe this is why I can't get over them. But I feel like you don't like this, though. This doesn't make, especially if you're drinking to forget, literally, in this case, trying to numb yourself out. You don't like that. Again, I really do feel like I'm talking to a collective. Maybe in the past you were, this may be a different collective. Usually I always talk to feminines that, you know, usually you guys overall struggle with anxious attachment. This one, I feel like you don't. With this person, you do in your own right, but I don't think you consider yourself an anxiously attached person in general. I really don't. I think it's like, oh, you're not in my life, peace, bye, and it's the end of it. But again, I feel like this person is teaching you a big, giant, valuable lesson of you cannot be suppressing and going piecing out. There's nothing wrong, and everybody's different, okay? There's nothing wrong with being a person that's like, if you're not an anxious attached, you know, person, that's a good thing. But at the same time, you're kind of avoiding something at the same time. Let me see what else, how else is this collective feeling about this person? There's that ancient history, ancestral karma, gifts from the ancestors, someone you have a past with. You feel like you do have a past life with this person. You feel like when you met them, you've known them before. You could, I feel like this, wow. Can I tell you something, what I think is kind of happening with this collective? Now, I'm not saying, again, I will break down what are you really avoiding within yourself, especially if you're numbing yourself out right now. Like I said, don't make it fit. I think you're doing something to numb it out. And again, I'm getting more drinking or, okay. Not saying you don't miss this person, because I deeply think you do, and that is something you're trying to avoid and mask off. But I think most importantly, you miss the person you were before you met this person. You were wild, you were free, you were untamed. Nobody had you in chains. There was something literally with that lone wolf. You're free. You were free to go in the wild. I feel like for this collective, before you met this person, you could have escaped something really traumatic. Wishes granted, wishes coming true. Your thoughts are manifesting. This person was a dream come true for you. The return, coming together, returning home, and then the past returns aligned with that drinking to forget. Let me do one more for that. What's this return? What's the return? Religious factors, spiritual lessons, differences in spiritual beliefs. There's a reason I said you were free. You were wild. You were untamed. You were unchained. You broke chains before you even met this person. You could have really, that's what I'm saying, you could have really gotten yourself out of a very traumatic situation, whether it is, I'm sorry, trigger warning, you could have gotten yourself out of a narcissistic relationship of some form is kind of what I'm feeling, or you escaped maybe a family member that was really controlling. There's a reason I brought up chains. You were free, and I felt like you missed that version of yourself before you met this person. Yes, I'm not, again, saying in your own right, you don't miss this person, but I think that's what's kind of eating you up more, whether you're ready to hear that or not, okay? I think there is a difference in religious beliefs between the two of you. I feel like you're very more spiritual. Maybe your person's not, which I see that a lot, you know, especially if you do believe this is your 20 of some form. Majority of times, you know, it is feminines that are very more spiritual, you know, into witchcraft of some form. Masculines, yes, but sometimes, a lot of times it takes time, or a lot of times I see masculines are kind of agnostics, okay? But I also feel there's a reason I said that you got somewhere out of traumatic as well. For some of you, you could have escaped some form of narcissistic relationship as well. But with that religious factors, with the return, the past returns coming together, I feel like you've held some form of religious trauma. There is a reason I kept bringing up you're free. You are somebody that's untamed and wild, and nobody could stop you from that. And I feel like maybe I think you grew up in a very strict religious household of some form. And I feel like, in a way, maybe this person, again, this is still how you feel towards this person. I feel like with that religious differences, like I said, that could be a sign for you could view things very differently. And maybe this person's always side-eyed you on that. But there is something that also I felt like this person, again, they kind of healed something out of you. It triggered you a little bit, but they healed something from you. Maybe this person did allow you to express yourself spiritually, and they love that about you. They learned a lot from you. And that is a reason, again, this is very religious. Again, do not make these details fit, guys. I think this person healed a part of you. And that is another reason I feel like you're having a hard time letting this person go, because I feel like this was the first and maybe the only person that really understood you, that loved the way you were free. I'm kind of seeing a collective. This may be kind of who you are. You may be that type to kind of dance nude in the moonlight, literally. Like, you may love our moon. You may worship our moon. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking to a very spiritual person of some form. Yeah, studying you, learning to love, getting to know each other. That is something you kind of reflect on. And I think and again, I feel like now it triggers you with that drinking to forget, because when you reflect on the past, I think it makes you sad that, oh my gosh, this person was the only person that let me express my freedom of spirituality, religion. I was allowed to believe what I want. They heard my beliefs. They heard what I believed, what made the world go round, good, the bad, and the ugly. They understood me. Everybody else demonized me for this. And I feel like it makes you sad. And that's why maybe you have gone back to drinking or gone to that kind of, some form of numbing, is because I don't think this collective, not saying again, you haven't cried. You really haven't really went like screamed and cried over this. I'm kind of seeing a pent up emotions being surfaced in you. So anytime you feel that ounce of sadness, you go towards the numbing stuff. Twin flame. One more. Forever yours, unbreakable bond, a love to last a lifetime. Yeah, no wonder this collective, you feel like you're going crazy within yourself. Because how you feel about this person, I think it's like you are not balancing logic with emotion. Emotionally, this person makes you sad, it makes you triggered, makes you back up in your feelings, so you go towards the numbing. But logically, well, they've hurt me, it's time for me to move on, right? But I can't move on. Maybe it's because of this reason, but I don't like that, so I keep numbing myself out. And maybe that is something that this collective, that is a shadow work aspect to go through. And I always say, if you truly want reconciliation, not just with your person, but even for yourself, if you really want to tap into your higher self, addictions has got to go. If you really do feel like that you are addicted to any form of numbing stuff, and that takes time. I'm not saying you got to do it overnight, but I feel like this person has put a big dagger into your heart way more than you're leading on. I feel like, I usually tap into feminines are very obsessive. They want to talk about it. They talk to other people, even if you kind of look crazy. Maybe you have tried to talk to people and people are also not understanding the situation, especially if you do believe this is a very, spiritual connection of some form. You're like, you know what, I will tell you this, stop doing that, it's not that deep. No, it is that deep, you're hurt. I could see it. This person is breaking you apart. They're tearing you apart. You're not admitting it. You're not admitting it to yourself. You don't need to go do anything to this person or say something or wait for some form of closure or reaction out of this person. Do it for yourself. But I'm just telling you, right, if this is your reading so far, numbing yourself out is not doing you any good. You're putting on a mask layer just as much as that person is. So right now, you both are kind of in stagnancy, I will say, as of right now. Okay? I think this person has bothered you way more than it's led on. There's something too here about ancient Egypt. Could have been very significant for you guys. I always say true divine. Sometimes you guys have You feel like you shared a past life in, like, you know, ancient Egypt, and I feel like there's somewhere else of a timeline. There's some about ancient Egypt. You could be studying like Egyptian magic of some form, or like the mythology, Egyptian mythology. You could be really into that right now. You could be learning about that, or I'm hearing go learn about it. It's beautiful history. I want to know what this person did as far as why did they leave. This is going to tap in the past, okay? Three of Swords and then Five of Cups. Nine of Swords in reverse. Yeah, this person left heartless, I will say. See, I feel like this collective, and I feel like you and this person were very different a little bit. It's, for one, very different people. Most 20s are. But how you guys, kind of initially reconciled, or I'm sorry, came into your initial union, sorry. When you guys first came into that, how you guys came together was very different. Again, this collective, you could have been single for quite some time, really free. You felt you escaped something. You enjoyed your freedom. You enjoyed your peace. You could be somebody that truly lives alone or loves to be alone. I think this person, they also escaped some form of heartbreak themselves, but I feel like as soon as that happened, that's when they met you. They didn't give themselves that time and that closure and that space to heal from it. This person clearly came into your life very unhealed. I'm kind of seeing this person could have been very depressed around you. A little gnat went by sign. They could be somebody that does struggle with depression and maybe anxiety, just maybe along with yourself. But I feel like when they left, again, they did it very cold. I have to say, this person really, again, put on this layer like it didn't bother them. It unfazed them. Sorry, again, this reading's going to be a giant trigger warning. This person really left and made you feel like they could live without you, okay? And no wonder, again, you're in this headspace of like, why can I not get over that? I don't think this person gave you any form of closure. I really don't. Again, don't make it fit. I don't think they really sat and explained to you really why they're leaving, except I don't think they know why they had to leave. All they knew is, I'm hurt, I feel sad, this doesn't feel right, I'm sorry, I gotta go. Very short-lived romance, especially if you do see this person as your twin. Very short-lived romance. I don't think you guys took off very much. Okay, yeah, Knight of Swords. As I always say, Knight of Swords, yes, sword energy is all about, logic, the mind. Where Knight of Swords, it kind of leads with emotion. They left. Because all they felt, again, was sadness. Well, they did this impulsively. I think they randomly, came and knocking on your door, or called you and said, hey, I'm out. Yeah, Two of Pentacles. Let me confirm one more of that Nine of Swords in reverse. And then the Page of Pentacles right there. Four of Cups. That's what I'm saying. This person made you feel like they would be okay without you. Are they? No. I know this is the past of why they left what they did. But this is, again, this tore this collective apart. I think you're questioning, got a notification sign. Was this ever my person? Did they ever use me? I love them. Did they love me? If they did, a lot of questions are coming out of this collective. Again, this is kind of what happened in the end. There's a lot of sword energy here. Air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, meaning, again, the mind, mental clarity. You didn't get clarity out of this. You just saw things at face value of, again, they just left. And again, you don't know why. Which makes sense, this collective, you really did not get closure out of this person. Don't make it fit. If you're doing nope, they left because of this, and that, it's not your reading. They kind of just been like, again, I'm leaving. You're like, what? Page of Wands. Two pages that are coming out here. Let me do another one. Wow, Queen of Swords. That was them, again, cutthroat. I think it was this was your person. Gender doesn't matter. I'm going to be honest with the way they left it is that typical. It had everything to do with me and nothing to do with you. And I believe that. Okay. I think this person truly struggles balancing out their masculine energy and their feminine energy. Okay. I feel like this person came off more off of the feminine energy, even though masculines, they are labeled as the masculines, but I feel like when it comes to this person, they struggle to be a masculine. What is masculine energy? It's all about determination, authority, taking charge, taking initiative. I feel like this person's never really took initiative in this dynamic, okay? What does feminine energies represent? Nurturing, kind of submission a little bit. What's that? The light, gentleness. I will say when it comes to this person, because I'm trying to read how they're behaving in a little bit. I think when it comes to this Queen of Swords energy, they're really good about setting boundaries. Again, in the moment when something doesn't feel right, it's a protection thing. Even if it was against you. This doesn't feel right. I don't like this. I don't like this feeling. I got to go. I'm setting up that boundary. Goodbye. I think this person is, as far as their feminine energies, the quickest to set up boundaries. But again, as far as taking initiative, taking charge, they lacked in that. Because I'm not really getting any masculine energies coming out. I got a Knight of Swords, which... that's somebody that didn't think this through when it came to you and this person in the end. Let me do that Knight of Swords. Oh, well, then I got the Emperor. The Six of Wands in reverse. That's where I'm saying they did it impulsively. The Emperor is all about, again, that masculine energy, about taking charge, taking authority. They did in the end of your guys' dynamic. They weren't like that through the entire part of your guys' dynamic. I think this person, I'm going to be honest, when things were good, things were great. But I think when this person, I think they were very cutthroat with you majority of the time of this dynamic. If they didn't want to hang out, they told you, I'm not hanging out. If they didn't want to make plans, I wasn't making plans. I'm not making plans. I'd rather stay at home. They're really good about asserting boundaries when it comes to themselves, but at the same time, it's very selfish energy. It comes off very like, I'm focused on me and F this. Emperor's also very stubborn energy. Let me do one more for that Emperor, though, because I think this is something they need to work on. The Ace of Swords. Okay, I see what's happening. Again, everybody has masculine, feminine energies, right? It's all about balancing it out, coming into that same, frequency, right? This person does take masculine charge when it comes to expressing their boundaries, logic, right? Emotions, it's very wounded. It's very impulsive. They don't think things through. They got some work to do. And again, this is talking about still why they left in the end. By the end of it, you really don't know why they left. It's just more of, I can't feel this way. Again, I think you have your ideas why, especially if they weren't over a relationship or some form of abuse they were dealing with. I think, again, you understand that. But as far as the full picture, you don't really get that. You're not really getting that for the time being, okay? This kind of helps me explain to you as far as maybe why they operate the way they did. It may not give you that closure of like, oh, I completely get it. No, but like this kind of confirms, again, how this person really operates. This really shows out the mass versions of themselves. Let me see one more for that Three of Swords and Five of Cups. So Ace of Cups in reverse. Yeah, they yanked that cup away from you. I think, are they over you? No, they're not. The one thing I will say, though, especially if your person, this person, got out of a very sticky situation, a very gut-wrenching, and then they jumped into a dynamic with you fairly quickly. They clearly have this fear. You're going to do the same form of, give them that same form of neglect or abuse the way they endured in the past. So they ran out of fear, because this is what this is all given. And again, masculine, their masculine side, logically, I need to get over this. They're going to hurt me. I'm not feel, and I'm going to be, it's not that they don't love you or they don't feel this connection at all. But this person is really someone I feel like is exactly like you. They are a very detached person. And I think, honestly, they're still detached from this. I think they're detached when it comes to all forms of vulnerability, which is something that both of you are mirroring right now. You're numbing out your emotions. What do you think your person's doing right now? They're not in any place right now to come thoroughly to be very expressive right now. They never really have been. If they did, it did come off of the form of love bombing, right? Will they get there with the Emperor, Ace of Swords, and Knight of Swords? Absolutely, they will. Right now, they're not in a good place. They're not being honest with themselves either about this kind of pain. Everything keeps coming up to the surface. I always say you can only get consumed by something so much before eventually you're going to explode. And how detached this person is, which is also kind of like you in your own right. You're a very nope type of person as well. They keep doing the, nope, this person's going to hurt me. I know how this is going to end, blah, 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 whatever's going on in their mind. And it keeps surfing up. In a lot of ways, you are haunting this person. Let me do one more, and then I'll be done as far as the ending. Yeah, 10 of Wands, as I said, that you're haunting this person. You both are not being honest about when it comes to your own vulnerability and your own feelings. One sec. Now I'm going to do what does Source want to say about why you cannot get over this person. I want to see directly from your guides. Why can you, to answer your question, why are you not able to at least detach or move forward from this person, okay? What did they got to say about this? 2 of Cups in reverse, and then the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Then I got the Star at the bottom of the deck. They were new, they were different, but they were also familiar to you. Again, I cannot get over this person healed you in some form or fashion. Again, I think a lot of it had to do with some form of religious trauma. And even then, you were able to really be authentically yourself around this person, okay? And it's like you'll never forget that feeling, okay? And I think that is kind of what's happening is right now, not saying you need to go crash out and hold grudges and think of like the hurt that, but you are more in this state of, again, I can't get over that. This person healed a part of you, but they also broke you in half. And that's why it's very conflicting for you. Like, I think naturally, again, logically, you want to get over this person. Oh my gosh, that gnat keeps flying in front of me, that sign. I think logically you think it's time to get over this person. It's time for me to move forward. Story's done. Would it be hard to believe that your story is not over, but it just doesn't mean not right now, and you're trying to fight it? Step 1, acknowledge your own feelings and your own emotions. Stop numbing yourself out. I'm not saying you need to go through it. For some of you, maybe this is a sign. I'm not saying you need to like choose sobriety or never drink a day in your life or never go have a good time. I'm not doing that. But I feel like this collective, you consistently do it. Oh my God, I love this person. I feel for this person. I'm going to, I don't want to feel that. It's acknowledging it. For as spiritual of a person as you are, and for how much you have endured in a very young age and how much you have escaped, because I keep using that term for the both of you, is more of an escape, right? Why are you denying this connection? Why are you not believing that this person, for as spiritual of a person as you are, why are you not believing that, again, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, you're meant to come back together, or this is meant to be the one, or that it is. What if I were to tell you that this was actually love? And sometimes love is meant to wake us up, and sometimes in the most brutal way possible. Yes, I am not denying you haven't escaped something traumatic, and neither is this person. You both have really endured some pain, okay? And in ways, I feel like the both of you in your own right have dealt with a form of control. People have tried to control you. And maybe that is something your person, sorry, trigger warnings, kind of deal. Maybe they're still dealing with some form of controls. I always say masculines deal with everything externally. Feminines deal with everything internally. But this collective, this group of feminines, you're not wanting to deal with everything internally. I think you are embodying more of the masculine energies for the time being. No, I got to take care of myself. I talk about you could be a very hyper independent person. I got to get this and this and this. Well, no, I need you to sit with it. It's okay to embody your feminine energy and, have that little bit of vulnerability a little bit, that what you felt was real. And I think you're trying to shut this down because of your numbing. No, it wasn't real. They hurt me. They left me. Love would never do that. And you're absolutely right. Love shouldn't do that. And that's the thing with twin flames that you keep going back and forth on. The whole point, I always preach this all the time, of true twins is you are meant to come into union with yourself, not your person. You're meant to choose yourself, not your person. It's okay to admit that this was a long lost love. There is a pride thing that I think keeps getting in the way for this collective. Two of Wands in reverse. And then 10 of Wands. I think a part of you too is wanting, I always say when it comes to closure, and closure is a hard thing to deal with, because sometimes in life, again, do I think you'll get that from your person? Yes, not right now. Because really this reading is not fully about your person. It's more about you and why you are kind of in the stagnancy right now. Okay, will you get that? I really do. Right now, no. When it comes to closure, naturally we want to hear, like I said at the beginning of this reading, I believe I said something like this, you wanted that apology, you wanted that, I'm sorry, you wanted that, why did you leave? You wanted answers. Do not wait around for that. In your own right, you're waiting, and the more you've waited and waited and waited on this person for some form of communication or some form of clarity, you numb yourself out. It really is bothering you at the 10 of Wands. And again, you, as bad as it sounds, it's going to be hard to hear. Put the booze down, and I need you to go have a good cry. I need you to feel this from inside out. This is supposed to hurt. And what this person is triggered, because I always say it's true twins. Twins is not love. I don't give a shit what anybody says on the internet. Twin flames, it's not love and light. It's not. It is brutal. It's gut-wrenching. It is a roller coaster you want to get off of, okay? What this person is truly triggered is, yes, you escaped something nasty from but you never healed from it. Yes, you were wild, you were free, you were untamed, but you never healed from it, and there's a difference. All this collective you've known how to do is avoid it. Well, I got away. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, because you survived. You did what you had to do to get away from something, right? But again, doesn't mean you healed from it. There is something about you still have flashbacks on it. For some of you, true healing needs to start. And I will get into the shadow work prompts, essentially, okay? Page of Cups. You miss the person that you, and again, I'm not saying your own right, you definitely don't miss this person, because you do, because you're refusing to admit it, but you do. You miss the person that you were before you met this person. You were kind of immature in a good way. You were free, you were young, you were fearless. That person in you is still there. You just have to go find him again. That youthfulness is still there, but quit waiting. And I think that is what's holding you back, is you're also, instead of creating your own closure, You're waiting for a response out of this person. Well, I can't do, and again, and a lot of this, guys, I will say, is talking about the subconscious. I don't think you're doing any of this intentionally, because that is kind of the part of shadow work and healing, is a lot of it's like, oh, I didn't really realize, but you are kind of waiting on this person to come through so you could move on with your life and get back to the old person you were. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that old person you were is not the same anymore. Is it still within you? Absolutely. You are very much wild, free, and untamed and unchained. But you were also very wounded back then. You were also very unhealed. That high you got out of life was that high of, I escaped, I'm free. And that's a beautiful feeling. But again, it doesn't mean you healed from the things of your past or from this person. But you suppressing everything in and going, I don't like this, is doing you no good. Let's do one more and I'll get into more. Yeah, Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords represents closure, endings, okay? Temperance. You got to make peace with it. Alcohol, whatever you're doing, is not doing you any good, okay? Let me see more now. What is some advice your guides want you to do moving forward with this? Oh, divine forgiveness and extreme opposites or opposing factions right here. Number 9 and 45 are very significant. You could have lost a pair of keys. I don't know why that came into my head, but you could have lost a set of keys. Something is lost, okay? I'm not here to tell you need to forgive this person when it comes to closure. You could, if that's something, again, that, but when it comes to forgiveness, that is up to you. That is not my place to tell you when to forgive somebody. What I will tell you is you need to forgive yourself. Don't demonize yourself for falling in love. If it wasn't for them coming into my life, I would have been young, wild, free. Again, you still are, but you were also unhealed, and this person is forcing you to wake up. So in the nicest way, they're kind of telling you, you have to get out of your own way doing that. Do not sit up in your ivory tower and go, well, they did this to me. They left me. They abandoned me. No, they woke you up, babe. And keep in mind with this, too, I heard my neighbor's air conditioner turn on sign. It's got really loud there for a second. You two are very opposite people. And I always say true twins, you guys really are. You're the same souls, but different people. I feel like this person has a different religious difference than you. And I think the way that you both handle life right now is very different. There is something about coming to awareness of the reality of as far as this closure. You guys are not on the same frequency at all. There's a lot of healing that needs to be done before we could ever talk about reconciliation or whatever. Okay? Number 13 and loyalty. $66, knowledge of good and evil. And then I got justice. That's where I was talking to you about, do not sit up on your high horse and think that this person, what they done you is just God right awful and blah, blah, blah. Are they off the hook? Absolutely not. That is okay to set them accountable. That's why they're talking about this forgiveness. You don't have to forgive this person, but understand they're trying to wake you up and understand what is going on. What is this supposed to teach you? This is not a punishment of literally your loyalty, or this person wasn't loyalty. It has nothing to do with that. You are creating a bigger war in your mind than what it really is happening. Is it brutal? Yes, but honey, you need to feel that. Let me do one more. And then I got malevolent behavior. Okay. But they are kind of laughing on this one, saying with that malevolent behavior, again, the numbing has got to end literally, because I still have my 10 of Swords here. Okay. In order for your new life to begin, you got to sacrifice your old one. If you really want to be, I guess, liberated, free, untamed, you have to let go of some bad, toxic habits. You cannot carry both with you into the next timeline. And you don't need to do this for this person. You need to do that for yourself. You are blocking your own blessings from coming in. Okay. And I think with this knowledge of good and evil, I think that's where your head's kind of going from one extreme to another. You think about the good times you share with this person, but then you think of the way they kind of left you behind. It's not really about that. If anything, sometimes it's a little bit of that gray area, a little bit. And it's rough. This is not about good or evil or determining. I think you want to know, was this person ever good? Yes. Were they evil? No. They just made some crappy decisions because they too are not healed. This is kind of also a humble reading. Again, does not let them off the hook of how they left you and how cold they were. Because I could see like why this collective you would kind of question a lot, for the time being, but you got to come into this accountability as well of you're not healed either, and the way you're handling it right now, eventually, babe, you're going to explode, and you are going to, with that malevolent behavior, it's kind of like prepare. You could take your anger out on the wrong person. You can hurt innocent people. That saying of hurt people, don't do that. In your mind, again, this is reading about the subconscious a little bit. I don't think you realize you're doing it, but that is kind of what is happening. Okay? I'm recording this on a full moon. There's a lot of releasing you need to do, okay? Or to be done, sorry. These are some advice of what to do, okay? Especially if you are into spirituality, witchcraft, all the, I'm going to list off some things and maybe what to do to try to release this pain. And again, it's not going to be like an overnight switch. It'd be like, ka-ching, I'm done here. No. For some of you, if you feel like therapy or going to talk to somebody is a good start, that is completely okay. Okay, don't be afraid to reach out to a tarot reader or some form of healer to help you get through this, because believe me, of all people, we're very understanding of where your mind is at and why certain things like this hurt the way it does. So don't be afraid. There is something about this collective too with that hyper independency, is you don't need to face this battle on your own. Okay. One of my favorite things to do when it comes to releasing emotions that don't serve me, I always do this on every full moon. I make this a habit, a routine for me personally, every full moon. Anything that burdens you, you literally write it down on a piece of paper. You could go as simple or detailed as you want. It doesn't matter, whatever makes you feel good. But in my opinion, get it detailed. Get it all out, whatever's on your chest. And it's private. It's on your own, okay? I'm going to try to find a piece of paper. Probably not. I don't have one, but it's fine. Let's just work with me here, okay? Write down on your piece of paper everything you're feeling, how hurt you're feeling, and it's going to be painful. Cry. It's okay. And then what you're going to do is take the piece of paper, fold it away from you 3 times. Burn it. Okay? Burn it. I have a little mini cauldron, burn it in a safe. If you have a fire pit, great. Do it where it's safe, obviously. Okay, burn it. Let it go. It's not yours. And you may have to rewrite that letter a lot. Every full moon. Like I said, but anything in your life that is overwhelming you, overburdening you, that is a good technique. And like I said, personally, I do it on the full moons because full moons are all about releasing things that no longer serves us. Okay. Let's see. What other techniques do we need to do? And again, if I'm talking to a collective, you have a habit of going towards certain substances, okay, as bad as it sounds. And this way I do resonate with what this collective is going through. I myself, I've been sober from liquor now for the past couple years. Yes, I did have a drinking problem at one point, okay. I kind of did the same thing, which, let's be real, most people, if it is kind of an addiction thing for you, a lot of us do it because we're coping from something we don't want to talk about, right? Okay. So the only thing I could tell this collective reflective. You need to find a hobby. You need to find a distraction, a healthy one. Go pick up that art project. Go read a book. If you are really somebody that lives in their mind, go do something. Go take a walk. Go get a gym membership. If you got friends, hang out with them. Spend time with them. Really distract your mind. I cannot stress it enough. And again, if you can really, if you're listening to this reading, if you could say, be like, you know what, I'm kind of addicted to this, throw all the liquor out of your house. Get all that crap away from you so you don't feel that urge to have it around you, okay? Keep yourself distracted in a healthy way. And it's going to be better for your health. You just got to find what excites you. And if it's something small, start with small. It doesn't have to be big. Learn to eat healthier. Drink more water. Really take care of yourself. The more you take care of your vessel, your body, it's going to flourish your mind and your soul. You're going to feel better. Your moods are going to be better. You're not going to be groggy getting up in the morning. You are really going to feel better. But let's be real, babes. And again, if this reading has been for you, if you're doing things like drinking or any other stuff, you can't tell me you feel good, except in the moment. That 2 to 3 hours of numbing is not going to, it's like think of that kind of stuff. All it does is put a Band-Aid. A Band-Aid, it just covers up a wound. It doesn't heal it. And I think that's what you have treated it for so long, okay? I know this reading was rough. I hope this helped my babies. But until then, I will talk to you guys on the next one. Love you. Goodbye, guys.